Welcome to today's trial. Today's accused are 46-year-old Brian Fisichella and his 48-year-old wife Susan, both guilty of abuse against their 17-year-old son Ricardo. Our jury consists of Denise Walters Robertson, her husband Baxter Walters, James Leonard Hamilton, Trent Williams, Diesel Clark, Dr. Diesel Gavin and Dave Fisichella. So Brian, you were originally born in Chicago, Illinois. You're of Italian and Hispanic ancestry. At the age of 22, you came over to Boston, Massachusetts. In that very city you'd meet your future wife Susan. Susan, your birth name is O'Connor and you're an Irish American. After your marriage, you'd moved to Savannah, Georgia where your first son Ricardo was born.
Correct. But as beautiful as it was there, we couldn't afford it and had to move to my husband's old hometown in Gary, Indiana.
Strange. I used to live in Savannah, Georgia around the time our son Bernard was born. It wasn't expensive at all. There was something that drew me back to Eric Falls, North Carolina. But it wasn't money.
And indeed it wasn't. That's a total lie. We did our researches and it turns out that an attempted forced you out of Savannah.
Man, do you freaks have to find out everything?
You better watch your mouth, sir. Trust me, when we bring you and your wife behind bars, I'll swallow the key. Okay, maybe not swallow it. Not very healthy.
Anyways, after a couple of years in Gary, you'd moved back south to Diesel County, North Carolina. You'd managed to hide your abuse for years. It wasn't until last month that a 53-year-old man called Mr. Diesel Busters found the both of you pepper spraying your 17-year-old son Ricardo John Fisichella. And thankfully, in today's court, we have Mr. Brian Fisichella's oldest brother, 54-year-old Mr. Dave Fisichella. What can you say about your upbringing, Dave?
Well, officer, it was by no means the worst childhood. The dark side, however, was our father's drinking problems which Brian inherited. Our father Frank Fisichella's drinking problems also lead to his death at age 78 a couple years ago when Brian was still living in Gary. A deep shock for my nephew Ricardo also. A harm pill for Ricardo since his grandfather was the only relative he was really close to. Deb had stopped drinking for many years already but his liver was already dead. I wish I had reacted. I should have stood up for Ricardo and not ignored him. It was pure cowardice from myself. Thanks God he's doing better now.
Thank you, Dave. So what is the jury's verdict on the crime?
I plead not guilty.
Well, ma'am, I am afraid that ain't your decision.
Guilty.
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 Alright then. You heard it. I order 2 years in jail.